Welcome, everybody. My name is Bill, and we are here with the fourth conference of the NCAA Football '07 Dynasty Mode off-season evaluations. We have 8 more teams lined up, all in the Big East. And like I said, the Big East is the fourth conference, and it's the second one that doesn't have any divisions, the other one being the Big Ten, Big 12 being the only 3 out of the Big 3 to not the Big 12 is the only 3 out of Big 3 conferences to have divisions because they're that big. And with this being our fourth conference, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 8 more conferences to go. So sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, eat some popcorn, eat some chips, eat something while you're watching this. I don't care. Hey, I sit and eat and watch YouTube videos all the time. So, hey, why not let you do it? But anyways, we will start off with the Big East champs, the undisputed, undefeated champions in West Virginia. Excuse me there. Who went 12-1, undefeated in conference play. Their only loss coming to me in the national championship. As you can see, points allowed 384. They gave up 146 before they went up against me. That's how dominant they were. That's how dominant, how unstoppable they were the entire regular season. Like I said, they're unstoppable against. I've got their great being they're unstoppable in the Big East. As you can see, just running the table easily. They didn't allow 150 points in the regular season. And their only loss came to a team that easily doubled their points allowed. So just don't run into that team next season. The Mountaineers had a great regular season, but couldn't handle the Bobcats like they thought they would. They have the chance to rebound, though, because their conference isn't best known for football. Let's face it, nowadays, the Big East, you see them on TV all the time, but only for basketball. All because teams like Louisville, Cincinnati, Connecticut, and USF, they left to go along with teams like Tulane, Tulsa, UCF, Houston, ECU, Memphis, I think SMU, as well, to go and form the American Athletic Conference. Although granted, Louisville would leave and go join the ACC, and then Navy would come and be a part of the American Athletic Conference, which makes sense. Military branch being a part of the American Conference makes a lot of sense. But yeah, the only time you hear about the Big East nowadays is from basketball. I'd say they might make their way back here next year, and we will have a rematch, and second verse might be the same as the first. So we go from a dominant team now to talking about a surprising team in Syracuse, who went 7-6, which was a lot better than I thought they would. Granted, 3-star school, I just thought that maybe, 3-star school, they'll just flounder or go like 3-9, 4-8, something like that. But no, I think one of the great that they overachieved this year, which is a good thing. I'd like to see more of that. Their best win came in Week 6 against Connecticut, 48-38. Oh yeah, West Virginia's best win came in Week 11 against Cincinnati. That's probably why my brain always wants to say Cincinnati, because it's the first team on this list for the best wins. They beat Cincinnati 56-3, West Virginia did. Meanwhile, Syracuse beat Connecticut, there we go, 48-38. And I'd say their worst loss came against Pittsburgh, 44-21. I'd say their improvement, though, is they need to force more turnovers. They did great this year, although granted, their point differential's only 6, you know? Which means if a couple of games went the other way, I mean, they might be under Syracuse, under Cincinnati, under Connecticut in the rankings here than being above them. And my thoughts, the Orange colored me pink this year by going over 500 this season. The only thing they need to work on, in my opinion, is forcing more turnovers. So they capitalize on shorter fields so they could be in a bowl game next year. Because that's the thing, they went 7-6, but I don't think they went to a bowl game. Oh wait, they did go to a bowl game. They just barely lost to USC. So they went 7-5 regular season, lost in the bowl game. So I should say they should be bowling again next year. I hope this isn't a 1-year thing, and I don't know why my script has the A automatically capitalized. There we go. Just say that right there. Put you back into reader. There we go. This is a 1-year thing, and they end up back at the bottom of the Big East next year. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, is for them to continue this success, to continue on to next year. And now we go from a surprising team to a team that's sometimes up here, but it's a team I always faced every year of this conference in Louisville. Now, I would have made their loss against me their worst loss, but there was one more loss to them that was more devastating than even mine. And I blew them out. Louisville went 7-6, as you can see. Their best win came in Week 12 against Connecticut, 52-6. But their worst loss came 2 weeks later, Week 14. San Jose State, they lost to them by a final score of 32-29. 32-29. You lost to the worst team in the nation by a field goal. A team that lost 18 straight games in a row. A team that hadn't even won a game all year long. And they probably have a total of 3 wins this entire dynasty. You lost to a team that was always at or near the top of the bottom 10. A team that was on pace to possibly break the losing streak of Northwestern of 34 games in a row. You lost to a team that probably wasn't even fully trying to win that game. They just happened to realize they were still in it and had the guts to even stay competitive and all that. But I would say one of the greats is they're actually a pretty good team. I'd say their improvement though is don't lose to San Jose State next year. You know, this team's the only team, like I said, I always play against because I have them as my rival. The reason why I say that is because my high school, McNary Central, the team that I made into the college team, their main rival when I was going to school was the Evansville Cardinals. Well, since you can't create a team as a rival, school, trust me, I've tried looking with some of the others. I just put Louisville. I mean, I don't like Louisville as a team anyways because of me being originally a Memphis Tigers fan, and Memphis and Louisville are rivals. So let that rivalry continue there. But they're actually pretty decent. It's just them against me always makes their stats look terrible. Like I said, how do you lose to the worst team in the nation? That's something they need to bounce back from before the next season starts. They were lucky to be in a bowl game this year. But if they let that loss get to them, then they might not be able to make it to next year's round of bowl games. They should compete for the chance to win the Big East, though, as long as they keep their heads up, not worry about we lost to San Jose State last year. How in the world did we lose to San Jose State? But we go from a team that lost to San Jose State to a team that has already been mentioned once already, Cincinnati. As you can see, they went 5-7, 3-4 in conference play. We got three teams that went 3-4 in conference play. Cincinnati's best win, I say, came in Week 5 against Miami of Ohio, 42-7. I couldn't really determine a conference game that was good enough to be a best win, so I just went with their blowout win. And their worst loss came against Louisville in Week 8, 42-10. And they performed great for a one-star team, program-wise. And I was looking through and their improvements, offense, just offense. And my thoughts here is the Bearcats are surprisingly competitive for being a one-star school. They were awful offensively, but held their own on defense. I mean, 5-7, decent enough, you know. They improve on offense. I could guarantee that they make a bowl game. With 25 freshmen, though, it'll be interesting to see how they will do come 2009. I hope they compete with everyone else for the Big East, even if West Virginia most likely has a stranglehold on the conference. Now, I wrote this script by going through each team one way for their wins and losses, and then the other way for what I think their grades are, improvements are, and my personal thoughts, because I was getting tired of having to go back and forth between left and right, so it's just go right on one way, left on the other, and that's how I do it. But now we go from Cincinnati to Connecticut, a team that was in the bottom 10 for a while. But they ended up somehow escaping the bottom 10 by picking up a few late season wins. As you can see, they went 4-8. I say their best win came against Pittsburgh, 52-49, and their worst loss came the next week against Louisville, 52-6. I guess they left all the competitiveness against Pittsburgh. Their grade is that they have a lot of freshmen. Hopefully their training can have them do well and improve the team a lot and be competitive. But their improvements, I say they just need to play better, you know? You can't be competitive one week and then just be like, oh, we're going against a team that we know is always good in the conference. Okay, let's just lay around and let them steamroll us. Well, let's hear it. The Huskies need Coach Ray Allen. Yes, famous basketball legend. I have LeBron James as head coach of Akron. I'll talk about him when we get to the MAC conference. Because LeBron's from Akron, Ray Allen, I know he graduated from Connecticut, so hey, I got random people being head coaches in this thing, okay? Like I said in Big Ten, I got a fictional character from a video game and one of the best college football players of all time coaching that conference. But yeah, the Huskies need Ray to have this team compete for the Big East Championship soon. Although middle of the pack this year is pretty good compared to what they could have ended up. They were bottom 10 regular until they started winning. And I can't really add them much anymore with other teams performing worse than them. I might keep an eye on them to see which direction they choose to go. If they go up, turn this 4-8 to maybe 6-6, maybe 7-6 or 6-7 with a loss in a bowl game, at least making a bowl game, then that's great. If not, then be prepared to hear them opt in the bottom 10 again. I do hope they make a bowl game, though. That's what I'm hoping for out of them. Because I don't see them really trying to be competitive in the Big East enough to try to win the Big East. Just at least good enough to try to get a few good recruits and build up on what they've been currently working on. Now, Pittsburgh, though, they've kind of been on the decline a bit in recent years. Because they finished 5-7. If you're wondering how 5-7 team finished ahead of the 4-8 team, well, probably because of the tiebreaker with them. Their best win came in Week 8 against Syracuse, as mentioned earlier, 44-21. And their worst loss came, I say, in Week 10 against Louisville 2024. Yeah, you're going to hear Louisville maybe being like worst loss for some teams because of the fact that, they're one of the better teams of the conference, so you can't really complain about that front. They have a decent offense, one of the best in the conference, but they don't need to lose their confidence. They were 5-2 heading into the final stretch of the season, and then they ended up on a 5-game losing skid. They had a chance to compete for the top spot in the conference, but a 5-game losing streak kept them from even appearing in a bowl game this year. They need to keep the confidence up after a loss, because they have that stretch again. Coach Trevisan might not be a part of this team next season. And now I'm even gonna show you what Pitt's final stretch was. I don't care about what my schedule is. I'll get to my schedule when we talk about the independents. Yeah, because see they they came out of this Georgia game 5-2. Lost to Louisville, that started the streak. Then they lose to Connecticut. 2 close games though. Then they lose to Navy, which Navy, understandable. Then they lose to Virginia by a little bit more, and then they just get their ship blown in by Notre Dame, 51-17, which I could have made that their worst loss, but the Louisville loss seemed to be a bit more appropriate considering the fact it's what started the avalanche, Sometimes you gotta have that snowball that started the avalanche be the culprit there. But yeah, they're not careful, then Coach Trevisan's not going to be a part of this team for much longer. Now we go ahead and talk about the last 2 teams down here, Rutgers and USF. With, of course, start with Rutgers, who finished the year 4-8. I'd say their best win came against Utah, 22-20, which, when I get to Utah, I'm going to definitely talk about how they underperformed this year. Because they finished the year 6-7 compared to their 2-12 record last year, But that's when I ever get to the Mountain West. The worst loss came in Week 5 against Pittsburgh, 35-24. They have a decent passing game, both on offense and defense, like one of the tops in the conference. But they just need to improve on the running game. Scarlet Knights did about as well as you would expect from them. They do have some possible success in the future. They need to improve they just need to improve the rushing game. If they do that, they might make a bowl game next year. If not, then they'll be down here again next year, keeping USF company at the bottom. Which, speaking of USF, they went 4-8, but they went the opposite direction of West Virginia. Whereas West Virginia decided to win every game of the conference, USF just decided to lay out in conference play. Although 4-8 is nothing to sneeze at overall. I mean, they went 4-1 in non-conference play. That's impressive. I'd say their best win on Week 2 came against Utah State. And stupid me, I forgot to put what the final score was for that game. No, I don't want to advance into the offseason just yet. I'm not done with this yet. I still got a good portion of teams to go. 48-31. Yeah, they beat Utah State 48-31. And their worst loss as they came Week 5 at Louisville. By a final score 42-21. And they do have they had plenty of underclassmen I saw from what I could look for them. They just need better chemistry. The Bulls pulled a lot of bulls this season. A 3-0 start ended with no conference wins, leaving them all alone at the bottom of the Big East. The upside is they have a lot of young classmen to help them bounce back. They might be a team to watch for in the conference to make a slight run at the Mountaineers' reign of terror. Now, I say a slight run because I'm not 100% sure how well the team's going to do. Hopefully, they can bounce back and hopefully make a bowl game next year. But that will be it for this episode. As you can see, the Big East, couple of good teams, a lot of potential work needed. West Virginia kind of being the Triple H from 2002 2004 year and basically having a reign of terror over the entire conference. But next time we'll be talking about Conference USA, and we will start off on the east side, and I'm not looking forward to it, as you can tell, with all these teams finishing under 500. The West, on the other hand, kind of not that better. I mean, you got two 10-win teams, and then after that's like, what you got? Conference USA, I'm not looking forward to doing, but I told myself I was going to do this, so I will find time to do this, and until then, I will see you all next time.